So we're told by the wise, those who have clear perception, they tell us that all is well, beyond well, that beyond the notion of good and bad. And they tell us of the experience of this recognition or this realization, which is described in various ways as peace or bliss or love, ecstasy, satisfaction, contentment, true wellness. So we're told this. I hope this isn't the first time you've heard it. If it's the first time you've heard it, then I'll deliver the good news to you, which is that the supreme reality, which is to say reality, is pristinely perfect beyond all notions of anything other than perfection. There's only this, and it's it is the ultimate. It is everything that we could ever desire. It is this fulfillment of every desire, and then some. And we're told this, and we nod and we say, "Oh." We talk about it maybe with others. "Oh, do you know? You know." But we've missed it. We didn't really hear we didn't really receive what was offered. So here in this moment, let's really receive. So let's just try something totally new, completely new. So in this moment, just be willing to be innocent like a child, like a newborn babe, and you don't have any baggage, and you don't have any protection, and you don't have any cynicism. There's no hardness whatsoever. You don't know anything. You can't differentiate anything. You're just wide open. So just for a moment, just play along, indulge me. And then just notice how easy it is to receive. The receiving is happening. So notice the difference between receiving and getting. So when I say receive, the mind hears get. Well, where is it? How do I get it? So this mind, which is just to say the conditioning, the habits, this contraction, it's just its nature. It just is constantly looking to get, defend, wants to hold on to something because it actually knows that it doesn't exist. It's a fraud. It's a complete fraud. There's nothing there. And so the only way to keep it going is keep trying to get something or protect something. So we're constantly looking to get or to protect So we overlook the obvious reality, which is that there's nothing here to protect or to get. So to receive is not to get. So understand, if you get, then you have to protect. We all know this, right? You get something, how many times have you gotten something, like you got a gift and then that feeling, what am I going to do with this? Where am I going to put it? So that's getting. It feels effortful because it requires effort to constantly be looking for something beyond what's obvious. There's an effort involved in that. But to receive is effortless. So it's in this moment, make no effort. And of course, you may find that there's some energy. Maybe you feel sensitive, vulnerable. Maybe you feel a little bit on edge, uneasy. Because to receive is unfamiliar. To receive is to be yourself. It's to be true. It's to be open. It's to be now. It's just this. Totally without pretense. There is no pretense because there's no pre. There's nothing before. There's only this. There's nothing to reference. There's only this. So there's no knowing anything about this in the usual way. Rather, it's a knowing directly, which is not referencing something else. It's not, what is this like? It is simply this. So if you experience any of those things that I've described or anything else, that's fine. You see, we have ideas about what should happen. We think we know what the problem is and what the solution will be, but that's all the scheming of the mind. So here, this moment, the invitation is, don't do anything with that. You don't need to push it away. You don't need to suppress it. You don't need to do battle with it. You don't need to do anything. Just be innocent and just receive. And if you say, well, I don't know how to do that, I'm not sure I'm doing it correctly, fine. So it's a learning process. You're seeing every way in which you block it. That's excellent. It's wonderful. It's such good news. We just have the wrong understanding. We think everything that happens is wrong. And then we hear something or we read something and we use that as evidence. Oh, see, I thought, they say that I'm supposed to have a silent mind and I'm supposed to only have positive thoughts and I'm supposed to, this, that, and the other. And then what's happening is not that. And so I said, see, look, I'm all screwed up. I can't do it right. So disappointing, so frustrated. What a loser I am. I'll never make it. But that's the wrong, what a surprise. It's the wrong way. The wrong way is, and it's so subtle, but the right way is just to see this is happening and just to receive the happening. There's no need to judge. There's no need to do anything. And to receive, it's not that now you're going to hold on to this and now you have to do something with it. No, it's just you receive this moment as it is. And in this receiving, there's a miracle. I don't know what else to call it. It's a miracle. In the instant prior to the receiving, there's this apprehension, fear, anxiety, worry. We're imagining something terrible, and then in this one instant of receiving, just one moment of non-effort, you see what's here. It's this. You say, well, what do you mean this? I mean, you have to look. Because we already know the right answer. You're not gonna, that answer doesn't satisfy. It's like you're trying to eat the menu. It's not gonna work. You'll still be hungry and you'll just have a bellyache. So what we're longing for is true nourishment. Can you just notice that? It's like you're starving and you need true nourishment, and you've been, everywhere you go, it's not real nourishment. It's like, looks like food, almost tastes like food, but it doesn't really do it. It's not satisfying, really. It's not real nourishment. You see that all of our habitual ways are like that. So in this moment, the invitation is to receive true nourishment. And that is beyond the idea. It's beyond anything that's known, which makes it sound so exotic, and it's not. It's very, 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 very normal. It's not something that's not already known. It's you. It's already known. You just don't realize it. You can't be other than yourself, but you can pretend that you're something other than yourself. So we're so accustomed to pretending that we're something else. We're accustomed to pretending I am these problems and this history and this dysfunction and all this badness and all this goodness and all these, skills and all this stupidity. And I'm all these things, we think. Now, notice how much effort is involved in that. I mean, any little thing, you think about any little thing about yourself, and it's so much effort, actually. And we think, oh, but I just have to. I have to do that, because if I don't, then I'll be a mess. Well, sorry to be the one to point it out, but you already are a mess, aren't you? I mean, I'm not. I'm saying that with yeah. This one too. He's a mess. But the difference is, see, what I'm pointing out is that you're not the one that you think you are. Now, you can't get that with the mind, but I assure you, this is not just some riddle. It's not some waste of time. It's a direct pointing, and you just have to see what is being pointed to. You have to be willing to just take the instruction to the best of your ability, understanding that it's a learning process. And I point that out because otherwise I know it so well, because I've done it myself for so long. This thing of, and it's really absurd, but so many of us do it. Well, I should just be able to understand it. I should just get it. It should just, why don't you just give me the answer? This is the mind says, just give me the answer. I'm no dummy. Why are you wasting my time? Why can't you just speak in a direct, straight way? But you see, what's happening is the mind doesn't know directness. And what the mind calls directness is completely indirect. You say, well, how could that be? I just call a spade a spade. That's the kind of person I am. What do you mean I'm not direct? Yes, but you see, all of these words, they're just they're just they're indirections. It's not the actuality. It's like, you can't, the word apple won't nourish you. You see, but that's what the mind is busy with. It's busy with words, it's busy with ideas, it's busy with images, it's busy with trying to organize and predict and scheme. And all the while, what is really needed, which is again the real nourishment. So we have to look and see the truth of it. If you don't see the truth of it for yourself, you'll never take the risk. It's a risk. You have to take the risk. It's a leap from the limitation of the known into the opening of newness. It's a leap. It's a risk. It involves a shift. And I'm not talking about some enormous explosion. I'm talking about in a very simple, ordinary way, just the way that any learning requires that we're humble. Imagine if you go to the martial arts master and you say, okay, teach me. But then they try to give you an instruction. You say, no, I already know that. And they say, okay, well, no, I already know that. You do that for 8 hours. The martial arts instructor is going to say, don't come back. You already know it all. So we have to just be open to, in a very ordinary way, to the newness, which means admitting I don't know. It means admitting that I am a mess. It means admitting I haven't figured it out. It means admitting that all of my ideas and all of my schemes and all of my everything has not delivered me the satisfaction that I deeply long for. And when I'm really honest about it, there's no hope of it delivering that, because it's like a mirage. No matter how many steps I take, it's always out at the distance. I never get closer to it. Most people go to their grave still chasing after the mirage, of course, because they all, they get together in groups and they say, we're going to get it. Look how close, we're almost there. It's definitely closer today than it was yesterday. And boy, that's an awesome lake up there. It's going to be so great. Aren't you glad that you're in this group with me? We're the ones who are going to make it, not like those losers over there who are never going to make it. And it only works for so long. You fool yourself, congregate with others who support the delusion, but in your heart, I'm not getting any closer. I get a little, it's like I get a little something, I'm thrown a little scrap of something, and then it keeps me going. I say, ooh, that was tasty. That was good. Oh yes, I'll keep going. But it's not enough. It's infrequent, and it doesn't really satisfy. It's just enough to whet the appetite. And that's what most people are going to keep on doing. So you have to see it in yourself, because as I say, otherwise you're not going to be willing to take the risk, because you have to be willing to stop. Everybody else is going to say, keep coming. We're almost there. We almost got it. And you have to, don't argue with them. That's a big waste of your time. Don't try to convince other people. That's an enormous waste of your time. That's just you doing more of the same, trying to cover up your insecurities. But rather, it's to be vulnerable with yourself right now. So right now, remember, this is an interactive process, and this is alive now. This isn't like a book knowledge. This is not like a college course where you're going to take notes and be tested later. This is a living thing now that is available right now. So you just open to it and receive it now. And I'm not saying that I have some special transmission or anything. I'm saying it is the aliveness that is who you are. It's available to you right now, and it's only available right now. That might sound strange. You might understand that in a bookish way and say, oh, yes, yes, I understand. There is no time, yada, yada, yada. It's only now. But see, that doesn't do it. That doesn't give you what you really want. So you have to catch yourself in these games and be serious about it in the sense that you recognize, I am starving. Aren't you starving? See, how many more days do you want to go on? You know, when you're really, really, really hungry, you're going to start telling the truth. And you say, I don't think I can go on any more days. It's got to stop now. That's the realization that we have to come to. So why not now? We can all be honest now and just admit, I haven't got it figured out. I don't know how to do it. All I know how to do is deceive, manipulate, hope. These are the things I know how to do, right? But what's available now is something fresh. So notice it. It's here. It's not at a distance. It's very intimate. It's the most intimate truth right now. So just don't make any effort. That's all. So now, in this moment, you're making no effort. Maybe I need to clarify that. So to make no effort just means you just notice every impulse to make effort. That's it. Don't restrain. Don't judge. Don't indulge. Just notice every impulse, and you'll see there's a magic in just in the noticing. Then it doesn't really fully form. You just have to really continue to notice. And it's an open noticing. Remember, this is like being a newborn child. This isn't like furrowed brow. I gotta get it. I gotta see it. I gotta stay awake. It's a relaxed, effortless seeing. It's just happening. As long as you're not falling asleep. And if you're falling asleep, then you notice that you're falling asleep. That's fine, you see. So that also is not a problem. There can't be any problem. But we can just be more or less skillful. So we want to just see whatever's happening. Do that. It's making a mess. So in this moment, now, and there's no effort being made, what problem is there? And you might think, well, I already know the answer to this. I've done this before. Yes, but look now. Without knowing the answer in advance. Because it's not like that. That's what it would be like if you were in school, but this isn't school. This is reality. You maybe see when you really look sincerely, there's no problem right now. Now, it depends on what else seems to be happening. So maybe you find, oh, it's really wonderful. It's blissful. Just so happy. Wonderful. That's great. More often than not, though, what happens is something else seems to vie for our attention. So let's see what we can see about that. So if what is vying for attention is something that we believe is, we're in the habit of understanding as bad, scary, painful, disturbing, something of that sort, then you notice, just slow it down. So just watch right now. If this is what's happening, you just notice it and slow it down. And you see that there's, you can ask yourself, how do I know that this is bad or problematic or whatever? You fill in the blank with whatever adjective you want. But how do I know that that's so? And not as an intellectual exercise, but as a prompt for you to really look to see, how do I know that? You can look and find this out directly. How do I know that? What is my evidence that that this is bad or problematic? So if it's mild or moderate, then this is usually a fairly easy exercise, because you can see fairly rapidly that the only way you know that is because of habit. There's a thought that says this is bad or problematic, and there will be maybe memories or images to support that. They all co-arise, and because we're just in the habit of believing that, and it all happens rapidly, then that's what we think. We just believe. That's how we experience our life. But in this moment, when you're just receiving, you're just noticing, so you're not making any effort to associate any of these things at all. You can let it slow down, and you see there's this pure sensation, or we could say pure energy or pure feeling. And there's the thought, there might be a memory or an image. And this is what's happening, but they're actually not really in truth associated. They've been associated out of habit. Now this takes, at first, this might be very difficult to believe. So you just keep seeing it. Remember, it's a learning process. It's not, well, I should clarify that. It's true learning. It's not like, again, it's not like bookish learning. It's not about having the right answer that you can write down on a test. It's about having the direct realization of it. And we know the difference, right? It's like you could read a book about how to ride a bicycle, and you could take a test, and you could, on the test, all the names of all the parts of the bicycle, and the right answers to the steps to riding a bicycle. Step 1, balance, and step 2, pedal. Step 3, don't fall down. All the answers, but that's an enormous difference between that and the actual living knowledge of riding a bicycle. So here it's about the living knowledge. It's about actually having the real learning. So it's not bookish learning. It's to look and know directly for yourself, to have the actual experience, the direct revelation of it within yourself. So you want to see that as many times as necessary, and it takes, maybe hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of repetitions before it gets clear enough. So, but don't be discouraged. It doesn't, single repetition is an instant. So, it's not like a big time investment, really. Just look right now and notice, like, if you just slow it down. How do you slow it down? Well, relax. Relax the breath. Relax your face. Relax your tongue. Relax the throat. Relax the chest. And if your brain is freaking out and screaming, I can't relax, I'm so uptight, that's the whole problem, then just say, okay, but I relaxed that. You just, whatever can be let go, whatever can be relaxed, whatever can be softened, and the rest of it, fine. You just accept that. But to whatever degree you can soften and relax, you do, and let the breath be gentle to the best of your ability. And then just see it starts to slow down, and you can notice there's the sensation or feeling or the energy. And then there's the thought, and there's the memory or an image or whatever else may be there. And it's really just a habit to associate these. And then I say, well, the thought says this is bad, so it is bad. And I've got these memories to back it up, because that's, remember that time when that bad thing happened, and that's what this feels like, so it's bad. But in actuality, when you slow it down, you start to notice, and you just have to repeat it over and over right now. You just see, actually, all that's happening is there's this pure sensation, and it has no meaning. And there's a thought. The thought is not actually related to the feeling. Now, you can notice that the thought by itself doesn't really seem real. If you just take a thought without a feeling. So you could have a thought, like, you try it out right now. You think to yourself, I'm traveling to Jupiter. Just think that thought. I'm traveling, I'm in a spaceship, and I've got my spacesuit on, and I'm traveling to Jupiter. You just think the thought, humor me. And then notice it's not real. It doesn't have any reality for you. Unless you're very, very, very open to hypnotic suggestion. But without an associated feeling, it doesn't seem real. So it's just a thought. We actually know, without any effort, we can clearly recognize that's just nonsense, not worth paying any attention to. So see what's happening, that there's this pure sensation that doesn't have any meaning. You have to look and see this for yourself. So just, again, let it all slow down. You see this pure sensation, it doesn't have any meaning. And then there's a thought, and the thought, out of habit, we associate with the feeling. And now it's because we've associated the thought and the feeling, and this is all happening very quickly, that we say this thought is real. Well, why is it real? Because it feels real. You have to see this. This is what's going on. How things have a sense of reality is because there's a associated feeling, and the feeling is just simply pure energy. So this pure energy, there is magic in all of this. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, that's the magic of this phenomenal world, which is a powerful magic. That's why the brief interlude, there's a story of these are two Hindu characters. It's a Hindu story. There's a character named Narada, who's somewhat mercurial. He travels very rapidly to anywhere he wants, and brings messages amongst the gods and so forth. And so he's walking with Krishna. Krishna is avatar, is God. And he says to Krishna, I want you to teach me about the power of Maya. So Maya is the supreme magic. And Krishna says, are you sure about that? And Narada says, yeah, I really do want to know. And he says, okay, all right. He says, but it's going to take a while. And so I think we should have a drink of water before we get started. So how about you go fetch us some water? So Narada says, oh, certainly. So Krishna says, I'll just be waiting here for you. So Narada walks along into the next village, and he walks up to the well to get some water. And when he reaches the well, there's a young woman, and he's smitten and falls in love, and forgets entirely about Krishna and bringing him the water and everything, and marries the woman, and they have many children, and their children have children, and so he's now an old man. And one day there's a terrible, terrible flood. It's just an enormous rain, and this flood comes and washes everything and everyone in the village except for Narada. So they're all gone. Everybody has died, and Narada is the only one left. And so he's so distraught, and he's wandering along and crying, and then he collapses to the ground. And then the next thing he knows, Krishna is saying, what took you so long? I've been waiting for you. So it's the supreme magic. None of us are gonna master it. Anybody who tries to master it, it will be mastered. So let's not make that mistake, but we can see it. We can just see it. We can discover something of its nature. So we're just doing that. We're just observing what's going on. It's powerful magic. It's the magic that gives rise to every experience. It's everything that we see, taste, touch, feel, hear, and so forth and so on. It's every experience, inner and outer. It's the sense of being someone. It's the sense of place and location and time, all of that. And it's all happening right now. And we can just observe it. So just see what's happening. There's these co-arising phenomena, and they're not actually associated, but we make the association typically out of habit. And because it happens so fast, we believe it's true. The more that we make that association, the stronger that habit becomes. And so then we just start to say, well, that's reality. That's how it is. I'm just an angry person, or I'm just an irritable person, or I'm just a fatigued person, or this is how life is. Life just sucks, or life is just hard, or life is just this, or life is just that. It's all a habit. So how do we, what is available to us? And a lot of times people get hung up on this whole thing about free will. Is there free will or not free will? Well, you can spend your rest of your life debating whether there's free will, or you can just act as if there is and exercise it intelligently. In this way, right now, you just observe what's happening, you see, and you just notice that this pure sensation, pure energy, it does not have any inherent meaning. It's just energy, pure energy. So you have to remember, I said you have to repeat this many times. You have to repeat it, but not mechanically, but you have to repeat it with awareness so that it becomes clearer. You're observing, you are a scientist, I guess you could say. You're just observing without, but the difference is, a scientist has a hypothesis. We're not starting with a hypothesis so much, actually. We're just saying, I don't know. I guess we could say the hypothesis is this, that there is a an inherent intelligence and order in reality, and that it is self-revealing, and that I don't need to make any effort in order to grasp it. And so I can simply be effortless and observe, and it all will be revealed. So that's the hypothesis, and we're testing that. You just observe and see, and you'll surely see what I'm pointing out. And it's this is what I'm talking about in when I say to receive. So this is receiving. So to observe is to receive. It's to simply be open and to receive. To receive that inherent intelligence and order, to have that revealed. It is a revelation. It's not something that we go and grasp. It is revealed. So all we have to do is just be innocent and awake. So now you know the secret, and to varying degrees, depending upon so many factors. I mean, there are many people here, so according to their own, we could say, level of consciousness, or whatever we want to call it, their own ability. This revelation is taking place, and the revelation continues as long as you continue to receive. So it's not about reaching some end point. It's not a destination. It's about this skill, cultivating this skill of receiving. So notice what's happening. Hopefully this is clear. I mean, I know for some of you it is, and for some of you maybe less so, but it's available if you just look. It may be a very dim glimpse, or it may be very bright, but whatever it is, it's available. So just look and see that what's happening is that right now, in this receiving, in this observing, in this openness, in this awakeness that's required for this process, this learning, that there is no problem. There is this complete satisfaction and deep nourishment. Now, that may be really clear, or as I said, it might be very dim. And if it's very dim, then what will happen is it will seem to get overshadowed by these thoughts that come back in that say, yeah, but how is that helping me? Yeah, but the pain is still here. Yeah, but I still feel frustrated. Yeah, but this, yeah, but that. So if that's happening, that's fine. It's actually wonderful. And you might say that sounds like a load of horse doo-doo. But I promise you it's true. If you just accept that and receive even this, then you'll start to see that it is true that whatever is happening, if it's simply received, is a wonderful gift, because it's the release and dissolution of whatever it is that's been interfering with the clear or clearer revelation, or the deeper nourishment. So we have to always start where we are. And the mind, of course, objects to that and says, that sounds stupid. Why should I have to start where I am? Where I am sucks. I don't like it. Okay, I hear you, but you just tell the truth about it, and you see that that attitude does not help. So this is we could say, a path of humility, and humility ain't easy on the one hand, on the other hand, it is so much easier than the alternative. So it really just comes down to, we have to really tell the truth and see how painful our habitual ways are, how painful our assumptions are, how painful our limited views are, how painful it is to be prideful. And then when we see all that, then all of a sudden humility starts to look a lot nicer. Because you see, with humility, there's nothing to defend. So you get it, it's right, it comes right back around. It's just an invitation to this innocence and openness right now. Why defend? Why make the effort? So now you might notice that it's been 50 minutes or so of exploring this invitation. On the one hand, it might not seem like we've done anything, but if you really look now, you'll notice what a gift this is. Because you see that what's happening is that there's a surrender. You're surrendering all of the baggage, the burden that you've been wrestling with and struggling under the weight of it. And here, maybe even quite by surprise, you might discover that it's surrendered. And notice what a relief that is. What a relief it is just to receive, instead of trying to amass so many defenses and so much wealth. To know true abundance is to be so light, because there's no need for anything. It's all given, it's all provided. That's the true abundance. We think it's something different. We think that abundance looks like having $1 million in the bank and a mansion and a fancy car and gourmet meals and all of that. But actually, you see how much of a burden that is, how heavy that is. And I'm not saying that that is inherently bad. I'm not saying that anybody should aspire to poverty. But what I am saying is that there's two ways. And the two ways can look on it from the outside. It can look like wealth, or it could look like poverty, but it could look like either, but it's fundamentally impossible to judge that from the outside. The only way that that can be known is because we know the actual experience of it, and we know whether there's simply a surrendering to the flow and a trust in that we are supported, that nourishment, that deep nourishment is eternally provided. So this is really an invitation to that true abundance. It's to receive the true abundance. And to recognize that that true abundance is not about anything external. It's about this direct revelation right now. It's the revelation that I am. I am. And that it's nothing more needed. It's all given now. And that we can, the beauty of it is that at any moment, no matter how seemingly far astray we've gone, You can be mired in the, terrible struggles and delusion. But, like Narada, in that one instant, it's like, here's Krishna saying, hey, where have you been? That's it, in this one moment, when we wake up to this magic, and rather than being entranced by the magic, we discover the true source of the magic, which is here all along, which is our own self, not as an individual, but as the universal. Then what more could possibly be needed? This is, it's, people wonder, well, why, if it's just an intellectual curiosity, but people get caught up in, well, why does any of this even exist? And, the, if consciousness is already complete and fulfilled, and why all of this? Well, you see, you can answer that directly for yourself instead of giving your attention to the thought. You just allow for the resolution of that thought, the here now, in this open awareness. And you discover the answer directly. It's because there's this revelation is bliss. What a relief. So the foundation, the essence, is this first step, which is this discovery of the truth of who we are. It's a big deal. Most people will never discover it in this life, but you have. That's what is happening here, you see. So it's a rare message, but you're here. What a blessing that is. So first step is this, and it's, as I say, it's foundational, it's essential. Without this, you're wasting your time. Don't do anything else. But then, of course, once this is realized, then we say, yeah, but my life is still a mess. What do I do? Okay, I can recognize my true nature here and there when I pause, but it seems like 99% of the time it's just this big mess, and I feel stressed out and worried and uncomfortable and fearful. So great. So now step 2, which is based on step 1. So we can't skip over step 1. That's why it's essential. But step 2 is that we don't want to delude ourselves and say, well, the true reality is only in this disappearance of the world. That's nonsense. That's a immature understanding. So, and it's actually an understanding that's still rooted in fear. But the truer understanding is an understanding that there's nothing outside of oneness. There's nothing that can harm oneness. There's only, we could say, there's only the distortion of that clarity. And that occurs as out of ignorance, out of the unwillingness to look, the unwillingness to receive, the unwillingness to surrender, that hardness, that habit of contraction and saying, I am this thing who is going to get it. So that's ignorance. That gives rise to the false perception of suffering. But there's no reason why we need to allow that to continue. All we have to do is step 2 is just shine this light of awareness everywhere without exception. And in particular, of course, the let's say domains and areas of our lives in which we have the most struggle, difficulty, those would be the most sensible places to shine the light of awareness and clear it up. So that's what the peace inquiry is. So we start with this just letting go. Don't make effort for one moment right now. And then notice that here is this unconditional peace. There's no other to oppose anything. There's just simply oneness. There's what I'm saying is unconditional peace. And then with this as the starting point, imagine unconditional peace expressing in your life, in your body, in your mind, and in your relationships, in your community. And all that's needed is just to allow that light of pure awareness to shine forth without making any judgments or latching on to anything or defending or trying to get rid of anything, so that everything is allowed. And in fact, it's wonderful if what appears is what you might consider to be negative or unpleasant. That's excellent, because that's exactly what's interfering with the clear expression of this pure light. So we just want to see that. That's all. So it's just it's a error that out of habit we have accepted as truth, but we want to see it just as it is. So you see, you just imagine this possibility of unconditional love, unconditional peace, expressing in your mind and in your body and in your relationships. And then you just see, without judgment, without defense, without anything, you see whatever's there, and you'll see so many things, and you might find yourself cringing a little bit, but that's fine. You just notice the cringing. You notice these habits of trying to avoid, of trying to protect and trying to defend. And you just keep seeing. And then one more time, make no effort at all for one instant, so that you can just once more recognize this pure, unconditional peace. It's here now. You don't have to go looking for it or creating it. And don't make the mistake of making effort trying to push something away. Just let go and receive for one instant, just like that. Even just half a second is adequate. So you can really sense that unguarded, open purity. And then imagine this unconditional peace expressing in your mind and in your body and in your relationships and in your community. And whatever objections may surface, or whatever reactions may surface, feelings, thoughts, sensations, memories, images, or whatever else, is fine. It's good. You just see them, allow them with no judgment. And it's also possible that you may notice that it's not even worth the effort to really give the attention in a focused way to the content of any of that. You just start to perceive it more as just energy. And that's fine. So then don't make the effort. That's the next step. That's even more advanced. So you're not denying it, but you're just, there's an energy that's released, and you just allow that energy, but you're more aware of just the light of awareness. Just remain open to that. And then you'll start to notice that some of that burden has been relieved. So that really, in reality and in your actual experience, this unconditional peace really has manifest in your life in a new way, shining forth in the areas in which previously there was darkness. So bit by bit, this is it. Step one is we know the truth. We directly recognize that truth. It's not a thought, it's not a memory, but it's the direct receiving of that reality, the revelation right now. And then step two is we just allow that to shine forth into our lives to remove the ignorance. Obviously ignorance can't stand in the light. Ignorance requires that we're not paying attention. But if we allow the light of awareness to shine there, then the ignorance disappears because it has no substance of its own. So thank you as always for joining me. And for those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A. So let me switch over some settings. I'll end this recording.